Hey everybody, I am Carmen Sanyovi from Top Flight Family. If you're already subscribed to our channel, you'll know that our channel really follows the travels of me, my husband Serge, and our two daughters, Sean and Ella, who are 9 and 6. And we basically are passionate about traveling as a family, and I'm equally passionate about which are the 6 habits that I believe every family should master when it comes to traveling. And have to admit, this is actually my first time ever going live on YouTube. So we'll see how this goes. I've done lives on Instagram, on Facebook, but it's my first time on this particular platform, so bear with me. And I also just want to put it out there that I've been slacking a little bit on our YouTube channel lately, so I apologize to those of you who have been asking when we would start putting out some new videos. I actually have a whole backlog of video content from some of the past trips we've done, including Toronto, I think, God, what else? Copenhagen, there's a few other ones. Oh, Atlanta. So we've done some cool trips lately. I still have that video content coming out soon, so bear with me and thank you for being patient. Okay, so let me get into some of the travel habits that I think every family should master. So the first travel habit, and some of you may think that I'm crazy for saying this, while others of you may already be on board with this. The first travel habit I think you should master is to always fly carry-on only. Yes, even when you're traveling with kids, I believe every family should master the ability to pack in such a way that you never have to check a bag when you get on a plane. So what are the benefits of not checking a bag? Well, first of all, you save on baggage fees. Airlines keep increasing those year after year, so you save a few bucks there. And then also you don't have to really worry about ever having to deal with your luggage getting lost. You know, I've heard so many horror stories from friends and family members who've had to deal with that. And it's something that, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had to deal with yet. The likelihood of your luggage getting lost if you fly carry-on only is pretty minuscule because most of the time the bag is going to be right above your head. So that's one of the reasons that I think it's great to fly carry-on only. And then I think the other benefit is that, you know, I think there's value in learning to pack light and learning to pack smart. I think a lot of us on a trip tend to think in terms of options, like, oh, I just want to make sure I have some options when it comes to clothes, or, you know, what if something happens and, you know, there's a spill or some kind of other accident. You don't have to worry about options. I think there's a great skill in learning to pack just the right amount of clothes that each person in your family is actually going to need. So how do you go about this? If you are looking to fly carry-on only with your family, how do you start? Well, first of all, if you're not already using packing cubes, I highly recommend that you start. So packing cubes you have probably heard of already, but they're basically these usually made of nylon kind of boxes, different compartments. They come in different sizes and they zip around. And you basically, instead of putting your clothes directly into the suitcase, you put your clothes into these packing cubes. And they're really designed for you to roll up your clothes and get them really, really compact. And then in addition, by putting them in the packing cube, the cube further compresses that. And so it just means that you can fit a lot more things into a single suitcase. And it also makes it such a breeze to pack and unpack. You know, that's one of my favorite parts of using packing cubes, is that when we get to a destination, when we unpack, I'm basically like handing out everybody's cube. Here, Serge, here's your cube. You put your stuff away. I've got my cubes. Sean, Ella, they have their individual cubes. Everyone grabs theirs, puts their stuff in the drawer, and then we're done. So it just makes life a lot easier. And one thing that people don't often think about is that actually flying carry-on only with kids in some ways actually gives you more storage than if you were just flying carry-on by yourself, like let's say for a solo trip. Because if you think about it, kids' clothes are much smaller than adult clothes. So you're most likely 5 days of outfits for your kid take up less room than your 5 days of outfits. And so that means that there's usually a lot of room left over in the suitcase, because each kid, in our case, we're a family of 4, so each of us gets one carry-on suitcase. Most of the time, the girls' stuff all fits into one suitcase with room left over, which means that Serge and I have a whole entire suitcase extra to put our stuff in. Let me just get a drink of water. Okay. So that's one thing. You actually have more room than if you were going solo. The other thing is that you actually have more liquid allocation than you would if you were going solo, again, because again, you have 4 times the pouches and the 3-ounce bottles that you can bring. So instead of each person, if you're traveling by yourself, you only get that one little bag of liquids that you can bring on. Whereas if there's 4 people in your family, you can bring 4 of those bags. Now, I don't know about your kids, but my kids don't have that many toiletries. So their stuff, again, doesn't take up a lot of room, which means that there's more room for Serge and I to kind of use up in their little bags and put our toiletries in there. So it ends up being much more doable than people think. So if you're not already flying carry-on only with your family, this is a great time to start. Okay, number 2 in terms of travel habits that I think every family should master. The second one is to make a habit of washing all of your clothes as soon as you get home. And the reason that I feel very strongly about this is that I am all about preventing bed bugs. Unfortunately, years ago, we had a pretty bad experience when our apartment building got an infestation. And unfortunately, the landlords were really negligent about containing it. And it was a nightmare, like so bad that we just had to up and move. Like, it was really bad. And so I'm very paranoid about bed bugs. I want to make sure that we never have to go through that again. And unfortunately, one of the not side effects, but one of the downsides of traveling a lot is that you are more susceptible to bringing bed bugs home with you. There have been a lot of research reports that show that, yes, maybe bed bugs are more common at lower end hotels, but luxury hotels are not immune either. Bed bugs can even be on your airplane seats. I mean, they're really all over the place. So safer is better, in my opinion. And so our habit, as soon as we get back from a trip, our kids, my husband, everyone is trained to do this. What we do is immediately we walk over to the washing machine. We take off everything that we are wearing on our bodies, underwear included, and we put it directly into the wash. And then we put on, ideally we would shower first, but that doesn't always happen, especially if we're getting home late, everyone's tired. But then we put on a fresh set of clothes that were already in our house. So in addition to the clothes that we are wearing that we wash right away, all of the clothes that we packed on the trip, we'll put in the wash and get all that laundry done away as well. And keep in mind, you should also wash your packing cubes. So the cubes that you use to pack your clothes, those should go in the wash as well, because those could also get bed bugs as well. So that's just kind of a smaller tip for you, but one that I think is really important. All right, quick water break. Okay. Now, travel tip number 3, another habit I think all families should master is getting in the habit of storing all of your travel stuff in one place. So this is something that I'm happy to say we've become pretty good at in the last year. But prior to this past year, every time we went on a trip, it felt like we'd be starting from scratch. It's like, okay, where are the packing cubes? Where's the laundry bag? Where are the neck pillows? All the little things that we use for travel. Where's the backpacks that the kids use? Where are the, noise canceling headphones? All the little things that you typically bring on a trip with you, get into the habit of keeping them all in the same place. And one really simple solution that I found, which honestly, I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier, is to actually put everything in the carry-on suitcase. I mean, it makes sense, right? Every time you go on a trip, you're going to take out that suitcase. A suitcase has tons of storage space inside it. You might as well put all of your travel paraphernalia into the suitcase itself. So ever since we started doing that, it's been great. So when we get home, we unpack right away. as I just talked about in the last point, we do all of our laundry, wash all the clothes that we brought with us. Once all of those packing cubes are clean and dry, we will put those packing cubes back into each person's suitcase. We will add in there other things, travel pillows, travel blankets if you use them. Maybe your kids have special loveys that they bring on certain trips, noise canceling headphones, maybe if there's a pair that you only use when you travel, put those in there. Travel chargers, battery packs, any of that stuff. Compression socks is another one. I've definitely gotten into the habit of wearing those on longer flights, and it makes a huge difference in preventing swelling in your feet and legs. So those go in there as well. So now whenever we go on a trip, all we basically do is just pull out our suitcases, and everything else that we need is in there. So it works really well. Okay, so travel tip number 4, in terms of a habit that I think families should master, is to get in the habit of boosting your immune system a few days before and then also a few days after a trip. And the reason for that is, as you know, there are a lot of germs on airplanes, in airports. You're breathing a lot of recycled air. When you travel, it's likely that you are, especially if you're going to another country, you're being exposed to microbes and things that your body isn't typically used to. So there's all kinds of opportunities for you to get sick, whether it's like a full-blown like flu or something really serious, or just like a little sniffle, a little cough. Whenever you travel, you run the risk of that. And in fact, I think the risk is really heightened. And so one of the things that we try to do is 2 or 3 days before we're going to leave for a trip, we all start drinking extra emergency. So, emergency is those little vitamin C packets that you dissolve in water. They come in different flavors. So Serge and I will drink those. We're trying to get the kids to drink it. For some reason, they don't really like it, which is so weird to me because it's like, what's not to like? They're orange flavored, they're raspberry flavored. It tastes like fruit punch or, all those kinds of unhealthy drinks that the kids like anyway. But I don't know, maybe it's the fizziness. But anyway, that being said, we try to get them to do it. We're not always successful, but at the very least, Serge and I make sure that we do it for ourselves. So we'll load up on the vitamin C, and then, there may be other supplements that you take to boost your immune system that you want to kind of add to this concoction. There's a few that I have gotten into the habit of taking, which I find pretty beneficial. Your mileage may vary. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. So you can try it out and see how it works for you. But one is reishi mushroom extract. And this has kind of immunity boosting powers. So it comes in a liquid form. And so I'll just drop a few, maybe 1 or 2 dropperfuls into the glass of emergency. Another one that I like is echinacea. I think that one is more well known. A lot of people take echinacea to battle colds and things like that. So again, I will add a dropper full or 2 of echinacea into my drink. Sorry, quick water break. Okay. And then if I want to be extra immunity boosting, I will also add in an ingredient that honestly tastes like death, like it's so horrible, but it's incredibly effective, which is oregano oil. So just imagine oregano, which is a very strong tasting spice, ground and dissolved into an oil. It smells extremely strong, tastes extremely strong, but it is really fantastic at fighting infections. So sometimes I will also add that into the immunity boosting drink that I take a few days before I leave. But to be honest, most often I'll use oregano oil when I feel like I'm already coming down with something. And what I found is that it really helps to kind of reduce the symptoms and also reduce the length of time that I'm sick. So, it's not a miracle drug or anything like that, but I have found it to be really useful. Okay, so that is travel habit number 5, boosting your immune system. And then the last one that I would suggest is travel habit number 6 is always prepare cash to bring with you on a trip. And I wish that I could say that we've mastered this habit, but it's something that we still always forget to do, and it's kind of embarrassing. But basically, anytime you go on a trip, you're probably going to need to do a lot of tipping, right? So you're tipping cab drivers, maybe you're tipping baggage handlers, maybe the doorman at the hotel, the porter. There's all kinds of, excuse me, there's all kinds of people that you're going to encounter that you're probably going to need to tip. So, if you're traveling domestically, just try to make sure you bring, let's say, like $100 worth of cash in smaller bills, just to kind of have that handy. You're not necessarily going to spend $100 in tips if it's a short trip, but it's good to kind of have that handy. And then even if you're going out of the country, I think even more important to have that cash with you so that you can exchange the money at the airport or wherever is your preferred place to do it. And we used to always just assume that we would just take cash out of the ATM from our American bank accounts, because from what I've read, and if anyone knows different, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know. From what I have read, you pay the fewest foreign transaction fees that way. That or the exchange rate ends up being, you lose less essentially in the transaction that way. But this past February, when we went to Dubai, we were not able to get cash out of our bank accounts. So we used like 5 different ATMs. We called our bank, made sure that they knew we were in Dubai. They were like, yeah, everything is fine from our end. We don't know why it's not working. So basically, like, we left the country with like maybe $40 in cash. And that's all the money that we had to change into local currency to use as cash. Now, luckily, we're able to cover just about everything else on credit cards and debit cards and things like that. But the actual cash portion was kind of rough. So ever since that experience, we make sure that we actually carry cash with us so that if we need to, we can actually exchange cash into local currency when we get there, just in case there's an issue with accessing cash through the ATM, like we experienced in Dubai. Okay, well, I have come to the end of my first live video on YouTube. Leave a comment if you watch this. Let me know what you think. Have you mastered any of these travel habits yourself? What travel habits would you add to the list for families? If you have any questions about how to implement these, you want me to go into detail on anything, just leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. I promise to be getting back to a more regular schedule with videos soon. But in the meantime, I just wanted to do this live just to have some fun and reconnect with all of you. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.